Welcome to episode 114 of the Valley Sports Talk podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Noah, joined by my lovely co-host, Brandon, who is on practicum. So how has your first 4 days been, I guess?
It's all right. It is kind of a little on the boring side, just sitting there watching and not being able to teach, but I'm enjoying it. Next week should be better because
I'm joining
I
you
have
next
I have
week.
a counterpart.
I'll be
So
there next week.
yeah, we also have a helper on Wednesday, so the class is gonna be very busy. Um, a lad doing his police thing, but they have to do volunteer hours or something for it, and he's in every Wednesday, so it'll be
Interesting.
fun. But yeah, it's kind of hectic going back to the high school you went to. Not I don't think any of the st no none of the students anymore were there when I was there, so it's a
No, they wouldn't have
full
been.
turnover. Um, got my brother in grade 9, which is weird. He's loving it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's
Hmm.
interesting seeing the dynamic of the school since you've left. It's a very different.
For sure. I think I've probably only been in it maybe a handful of times since being back, and one of them was for a placement. Um, and one of them was just to watch like a sporting event after class had already been done. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting sort of thing to go back as not a student, but more or less a teacher, I guess, or a teacher candidate, I guess I'll call you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
are you coming back tomorrow?
yeah, I have class tomorrow morning, and then I'll be back after class. But I won't
Do you
be in
have
this.
did you have any midterms or
Yeah, last week I had mine, but I had none. I only had one this week, or one last week. I only had one in total.
and you passed it?
I haven't got a grade back yet for it.
You know.
I was very confident coming out of it, so that's always a
Okay,
good thing.
that's a good thing.
Anyways, off the life topic or part portion of this interview podcast
You
episode,
interviewing me?
I guess so.
Okay.
The NHL is back, and know that me and you would have liked it to start a lot better than it did. Probably more me than you, because
We don't even have a goal yet.
neither of us have a goal yet. Luckily, we both play tonight, so I'm hoping that changes tonight, or else we might be in one of us might be in case for a long season, if that happens. But
Who does
yeah, give
Pittsburgh
me
play
your. I
tonight?
didn't watch the Toronto game obviously because the Pittsburgh game was on at the same or not the same time, but like close enough that I wanted to watch that over that. But give me your first thoughts about Toronto and their 1-0 goose egg.
I actually liked Toronto's game. Stolarz looked really good in nets, obviously only allowing the one goal on like 28 shots or something like that. Um, and I mean, Toronto had their chances. I think they ended the game with 47 shots on net. There was three posts that were like so close. Austin Matthews had a last second chance that he kind of just shot into the gut of Montembeault, which I thought could have had more. But all in all, I think they played okay. Like they took a couple too many penalties. They had like Montreal had a 5-on-3, and Toronto's power penalty kill, sorry, looked really good. Um, they didn't allow a goal on the 5-on-3. Montreal's only goal was on the power play, but other than that, I think they had like six power plays. So 1 for 6, you'll take that. Toronto's power play didn't look great, which is nothing new. Kind of something we're used to is the same old power play. Thing I did like was the defensive aspect of the game. I think that's what happens when you switch coaches from Sheldon Keefe to Craig Berube. So the defensive part looked really good. Never really, even though they had 48 shots on net or 47 shots, there wasn't a huge amount of high danger chances. Like they were just kind of same old Leafs, obviously just chucking pucks at nets and hoping something goes in. So I wouldn't say it was like super dominating, even though the shots might make it sound that way. But all in all, even though they lost 1-0, I'm kind of okay with how they played. I like the style more. I think it fits more with playoff hockey. And I read a stat that the last time the Leafs lost 1-0 on their first away game of the season was 1967. So good juju.
Yeah, we'll go with that. How concerned are you with the fact that we're already one game into the season and Joseph Wall's already hurt? I know you said Stolarz it did play well, but I don't know if he's going to be that number one guy that can take you the distance. So what's your concern with the goalie situation?
I'm honestly not too concerned about it. I think you went into the season knowing Wall was going to get injured at some point, so get it out of the way early. I think Stolarz can hold the fort. Until then, obviously, it's going to be Dennis Hill to beat tonight, who I'm actually looking forward to seeing as he is like Toronto's only rookie goalie that I think could actually turn into something. So that'll be nice to see. And then obviously you got Matt Murray, who honestly, from pictures and just from preseason and stuff, looks like the best he's looked since his Pittsburgh days. Obviously, he had some rough injuries in the Ottawa days and stuff like that. So I will be excited to see if he gets into play. And I think, you expected Wallen Hill and Stolarz to kind of go a 50-50 split. So I'm not too concerned yet. If it extends longer than it sounds like, then maybe I'll get concerned, but it seems like he's not going to be out for very long.
Yeah, it's also very fun to see how the dynamic of Habs fans has changed after one game, beating the Leafs 1-0.
We're
Of
going to the
course,
playoffs.
they think they're winning the cup now. Um, I will say I think this Montreal team is going to be better than they have been the last few years. I don't think they're still a playoff team, but they do have some talent on that team. Don't get me wrong. And when Laine comes back, they'll have a solid like top six
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
But
I think,
I think they're still 1 or 2 years out.
yeah, I think their season, like, I don't think they're gonna make playoffs, but I think the difference between them finishing last and maybe like was it sixth or something in the Atlantic is Montembeault. Like he looked really good last night. And if he can kind of get to that style, I know last year wasn't the greatest, but I mean you didn't have the greatest team in front of you. But he has shown flashes of being a good goaltender. So I'm kind of interested to see if this is just like a one game thing or if he can keep this going for a stretch.
Yeah, it's crazy how he was a waiver claim a few years ago. That's how the Habs did end up getting him. But
Yeah.
I also have seen a lot of people jumping to the fact that maybe Montembeault is now, or if he has a good year, or up to whenever the team gets picked. But do you think he has a chance of being one of the 3 or 4 goalies named to Team Canada's Four Nations faceoff team
I
if
think
he stays
anyone's on
playing?
the table, considering Canada doesn't have a dominating goalie. I think anyone's on the table. They're just gonna pick who's hot, right? So I don't think when they're picking for the Canada goalie, it's gonna be more experience based. I think it's just like who's hot at the moment. I think it could be him, it could be Bennington, it could be a plethora of others. Just kind of depends on who's hot in the moment.
Yeah, one Canadian goalie who did not have a very good start last night. Actually, I don't even want to blame the whole 6-0 loss on Jared because he had a positive goals GSAX average for whenever he still lost 6-0.
Hmm.
Another stat that I thought was weird. Out of the 10 starting goalies last night, there was 4 that had a worse save percentage of him, and he let in 6 goals.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, Koprasov did not look good in his Boston
No,
opening.
he didn't. He looked pretty bad. Anyways, quick notes on the Pittsburgh game. First 10 minutes, they looked like the better team. Then I don't know what the heck happened for the next 50 minutes. They kind of just fell off. The odd man rushes were 10-0, so that sort of
That's
shows
tough.
you
Yeah.
not you're not usually going to win very many hockey games like that, and you're also not going to win very many hockey games when you get shut out. But maybe this is a good thing. Maybe they'll come out to play tonight in Detroit, and maybe this makes since Shesterkin has a shutout his first game, he already rejected 11.5 mil, so maybe he puts the Rangers in cap hell for the next 8 years after he requests 14 mil.
Yeah, he rejected the highest goalie
It
amount.
was like 11, it was 11.5 AAV,
Yeah,
which would have
he's
been the
gonna make a
highest. Obviously,
ton of money.
Bobrovsky has the highest ever right now at 10 mil, and the fact that Shesterkin um declined 11.5 mil annual average value is pretty insane. But I think I don't know if you give him exactly what he wants, but I don't think there's a way that you can let this guy get on the market, or not even on the market, just let him go in general.
It's crazy because you cannot let a goalie like that go. But if you sign a goalie to that contract, how do you stay competitive giving that much cap space
For
to
sure.
a
And the
goalie?
fact that I think honestly the commentators last night watching the Pittsburgh game were pretty they had some good points. Like how many more years does this Rangers team have of being competitive?
They're old.
They're getting older. The bunch of their top guys are becoming UFAs in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. Um, Obviously they still have guys like Lafreniere, maybe Kako can eventually. I don't think he's going to translate to a second overall pick, but I definitely don't think he's going to translate to being irrelevant and not an NHL worthy player. But does this if this Rangers team all of a sudden signs Shesterkin to 13 mil, 12.5 mil, like where does this team go? Like all of a sudden, yeah, you got a good goalie, but you can't sign anybody else above to make your team any better.
100%. Who was on Crosby's line last night?
The first period or the second period or the third period? Because Mike Sullivan
Okay.
was
They
changing
did a lot of
lines
line
constantly
switching.
trying.
I want to know the first period because that's probably what he's planning to stick with.
So Brian Russ is hurt. He got hurt in the last preseason game, so he didn't play
Yeah.
last night.
Mhm.
So to start it, he was paired up with Anthony Beauvillier and Drew O'Connor, and by the second period, Rickard Rakell was put on that line, and Drew O'Connor was dropped. Third line looked very good. Lars Eller, Puljujarvi looks like a brand new player. I think last year was sort of a building point for him coming back from double hip surgery. Obviously he's a former fourth overall pick, so he's got some hockey game. But he looked really good, and then Rutger actually looked pretty good in his NHL debut.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought of him.
Yeah, he was on the third line. You could
That's a
tell it was
kind of
his
a
first
quick
NHL
line,
game
eh?
because I think he was almost scared to make a mistake. But that third line was probably Pittsburgh's best line last night.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, that's cool. Who was and how did like I don't know what about the rest of the team, like your defense core? Obviously, you let in 6 goals, but how did the defense play?
So yeah, um, same thing as the Leafs. The power play still hasn't figured it out, but they were also trying. They were running Letang and Carlson last night, which I didn't really like. I don't think because both of those guys like to sort of make something happen. They don't like to shoot the puck. And they didn't have a real net front. Like Crosby was their net front presence last night, and I don't think that's where Crosby should go. I'm hoping that with it, obviously Rust will be the net front presence whenever he comes back, but I want to see like Michael Bunting a net front presence. They tried it at the end of last year and it worked really good just because based off he's
Hmm.
not scared to get into those dirty areas,
That's his game
and he
plan.
gets a lot of dirty goals, but the power play didn't look good. Ryan Graves still looks unusable, and they still have him left for 5 years at 5.5 mil.
Yeah.
Matt Grizzlick actually looked okay for being so bad in Boston last year. And then Marcus Pettersson, who's probably their best defensive defenseman, looked like a shell of himself last night. So I'm hoping he can sort of bounce back. He's actually a really underrated player in my opinion over the last few years. He's in the last year of his deal, so I think he's one of those players where if the Pens aren't in a good spot at the deadline that he will be shipped. And
Hmm.
like you said, tonight we will see, or Pittsburgh will see Joel Bloomquist, who will make his NHL debut tonight as Nedeljkovic is hurt. Um, Same thing
How
with
old's he?
he's like 22.
Okay.
He's the same thing as what you said for
Hildeby. Yeah.
Hildeby.
Hildeby's
He's
like
probably
24 though already.
Hildeby's 20. So yeah, Bloomquist is 22. He's probably um him and this Russian guy Murashov are the two sort of Penguins goalies to look forward to. So it'll be cool to see him get his first action tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because obviously Detroit doesn't really pride themselves in a defensive game. They're more of an offensive team, so he's probably going to get a lot of shots faced on him. So we'll see how the first game goes. But I mean, for a team that needs to score goals, well, just after the first game, that's all they're going to be worried about. Detroit's a pretty good opponent to be versing
Yeah.
in that category. They do like to let in goals. Who's starting for Detroit? Because they have like 15 goals.
Ville Husso won the starter's job.
Billy Husso's taking
Yeah,
it because
because
they
I
honestly
didn't
they have like
realize
20 goalies and none of them are amazing.
they're all like mid starting
Yeah, yeah.
goalies. I didn't even realize it until I saw the Ville Husso post on it. I don't know why it just came up on my Instagram. It's like Ville Husso's won the starting job. And I looked, they got Jack Campbell, Alex Lyon. They have one more other name.
They have Reimer, I think.
No, Reimer was on Buffalo. He got
Oh,
claimed by Anaheim.
who else do they got?
They have one more goalie that's like a mid starting goalie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna search it
it's
up right now.
not coming to me. But yeah, they have so many goalies. And none of them are great. So I think they're just gonna play a hot hand, and as soon as they're not good, I don't know, do something with it. But yeah, in terms of Toronto, I think they're gonna have a lot
Oh,
of
Cam
juice.
Talbot.
Cam Talbot, that's who it is. I'm surprised Cam Talbot didn't win the starting job over
No,
Husso,
he
but
didn't. Ville Husso did.
I'm assuming Talbot's the backup, but
Talbot's backing up. Lions in the Jack Campbell's on like and he's in like the
yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I
yeah,
feel like it stems from a lot of hate he got from Edmonton in his
for
time
sure.
there. Um, but yeah, in terms of Toronto, I think they're gonna have a little boost tonight, especially it's the first time in 221 games, I think, since they haven't scored a goal. Last time they were shut out was November of 2021, so it's been a long time, so that should boost them. Plus, they're playing their old coach in New Jersey. It's in New Jersey, so they did have to travel. So they might start off a little bit slow, but I think versing their old coach and getting shut out for the first time in 3 years is going to provide them with a big boost. So we'll see how that goes. See if some guys can get on the board.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that stat that Toronto hadn't been shut out in 3 years.
Yeah, it's they longest streak in a very long time. So
I
I
saw
mean,
that. I knew last year that they didn't get shut out, but I didn't realize that like 2 more years before that they just never got shut out.
yeah, the only reason I know is because every single Leafs game, if they went into the third period scoreless, that it would pop up.
It would pop up. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't been shut out in 200 games, and then they'd score a garbage goal or something, and it wouldn't even matter. But yeah, so we'll see how they bounce back. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like we got I guess we talked about big old Kirk O'Chain's last episode, eh?
Yeah, we did.
And the Atlanta Falcons. But who do they play this week?
They play the Panthers.
Oh, upset alert?
I hope not.
Where
They
is it?
would. The Falcons would be the type of people to be competitive with the Chiefs, beat the Eagles, beat the Bucks, and then lose to the Panthers.
Oh, probably. Yeah, it would be Atlanta Falcons
I don't
style.
know if the Panthers are going back to Bryce Young yet or not. I know he went in the middle of the game, their last game, I forget who it was against, but they were like down by a lot. So, um,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
think Bryce Young would be better for Atlanta.
probably would be.
But I do kind of want to talk about tonight's game. We are recording on Thursday just because I think, like, division aside, I know it's an in-division Thursday night primetime game, which always makes for a good game. But both these teams, like San Fran's 2-3, you lose this game, you go to 2-4. That's a tough hole to climb out of. And then in Seattle's point, they're 3-2, but they were 3-0 and just lost to the New York Giants. So I feel like this is like a super important game for both these teams. Like you don't want to be Seattle go 3-0 to 3-3. And San Fran, if you drop to 2-4, like that's a tough hole to climb out of. So like what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a lose or it's more of a must win for the 49ers. Obviously, like you said, I think 2-4 is a bigger hole to climb out of, especially whenever this team um had a
They were in the Super Bowl.
big hopes. Obviously, yeah, they're a Super Bowl contender. But you look at the Bills or the Bills, the um the Seahawks next few games. They go at Atlanta next week. Obviously, we've seen not even trying to be biased. We've seen Atlanta's a hard win. They're a good team this year. Then they
Oh
go
yeah, I
Bills.
mean guaranteed.
Then they
Guaranteed.
go Bills, Rams, bye week, Niners again. So the Seahawks are in a bit of a tough stretch right now, where we will sort of see what team they want to be, if they want to be the team that started off 3-0, or what type of team they want to be. But I don't remember if you mentioned the 49ers schedule. They go Chiefs, Cowboys, bye week, Bucks, Seahawks. Like neither of these teams have
Mhm.
easy weeks upcoming. So, I feel like both these teams need this win just based off who their next games are going to be against.
Yeah, because honestly, like by the looks of just because this division is so beat up right now, like every team has injuries except for the Seahawks. The Seahawks are relatively healthy. But the Rams, just with the injuries, I mean they're 1-4. It's tough to say, but I think they're kind of out of it already. Like it'd be tough to come back from this. Um, the Cardinals, like I know you don't believe in them, I believe in them a little bit, but I think they top out at a 500 team. And like I feel like from a division where I think I predicted uh a wild card team coming from this division, like you might just get the division winner out of this
It's
like
crazy
division
to think
because
at this
they're
point.
just so hurt, and plus that schedule, like you got to assume that you're gonna go 500 through those because and anything better is just like like a cherry on top. But with both those schedules, it's like this is going to be a division that people are just scrapping for the last playoff spot. But I mean, I don't know. I think I do agree with you. I think San Fran needs this game a little bit more. But I do feel like if Seattle loses this game and drops three straight with the schedule they have, you could see a 3-0 team go to 4-6 really, really quick. And
for
I
sure.
don't know where to predict this game. It is in Seattle, but they're such a hard team to predict because last week their offense disappeared against the Giants. And the week before, they played prime time against Detroit, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. Defenses couldn't make a stop. The offenses were firing. So, what kind of what kind of Seattle team do we get? Not quite sure. San Fran's starting to get healthy, which I like for them. I do think San Fran pulls out with this one.
Yeah,
I,
I think San Fran's got more to lose. Obviously, I stated that. Injuries are big, but I think they show that they are the better team. And even with injuries, I still think this team is a solid team. Um, if they can get this game and get to 3-3 and maybe start to get a couple players back, I think it'll help them obviously going forward. But as you said, if they all of a sudden drop to 2-4 and these guys with injuries are coming back, what if they're maybe 2-5 or 3-5 or 2-6 even. We don't know what the next weeks will come. This team might um not be sellers, but they might not be like a guy like the Ayuk contract might not look good. Um, will they want to pay Brock Purdy even because I believe he's a free agent this offseason or next
yeah,
offseason. Like,
yeah.
he's eligible for an extension. So I think this game in these next couple weeks will be very telling in the team that we see going forward with San Fran.
100%. I am curious to see how this game goes. It should be a good one. I do want to do a little quiz on the NFL as we are like into week six. So people are starting to pull away. Stats can look a little weird through the first couple weeks just because you have some really good performances or not so good performances, but people are starting to stand out now. Um, I have top fives in all these categories, and I'm not really quizzing you, but I just want to see if you can kind of gauge where people are at the top of the league.
Okay.
So my first topic is passing yards.
Okay, I know this because you know how the NFL always posts like the leaders.
Yeah. Do you
I
have it
could probably
memorized?
I could probably give you the top five because the top five are on that. But
Okay.
it should be Geno, Dak, I think CJ, Purdy, and Kirk.
5 for 5, just like that, eh? That's crazy.
I saw it this morning.
Good for you. Okay, well, there we go. He's 5 for 5. What about passing touchdowns?
It was Darnold. I think Burrow's 5 touchdown game put him over him though.
Burrow
Yeah.
is leading. Burrow is leading the
So
league.
then it should be Darnold and Mayfield second and third. And
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you fourth and fifth to be honest.
Lamar and Dak. Can we talk
Okay.
about how Joe Burrow has been one of the best quarterbacks in football and is 1-4?
It's
How's
crazy.
that possible?
I honestly it's very crazy to see this happen
He's
whenever.
sixth in passing yards, first in touchdowns. Um, he has thrown uh only two interceptions. Like he has a 72% completion rate. He has a 114 QBR, and he's 1-4.
1-4, poor guy.
Like how I mean, like you look at the games and the week one against the Patriots was kind of a dud. But other than that, they're putting up points and just losing. Like they lost by 1 point to KC. They lost in overtime to Baltimore. They lost in a shootout against Washington. So they're putting up points. Their defense can't
Their
hold it
defense
together.
can't, yeah, keep him in it.
It's tough. Anyways, I feel bad for them. But receiving yards.
The receiving leader will not be the receiving leader coming because he just got put on IR. It is Nico Collins, I
It is
believe.
Nico. It is Nico. He is
I
leading by
bel
70 yards though, so you might keep it.
It's honestly, I think Jamar's up there.
You know your NFL.
I have been keeping up. I feel like I've been keeping up this year more than I have in a while. I think based off the fact that Atlanta's finally
Yeah,
a
yeah, you
competitive
have a
team,
reason to.
so I actually have a reason to keep up with them. I think Jaden Reed's up there too.
Yep, he's five.
And then I also think DK's there, but I couldn't tell you
DK's
who I
four.
don't know who the fifth one is.
Layup.
Oh, it's probably just Jefferson, isn't it?
It is Jefferson. Another 5 for 5 out of the gate. You haven't guessed a wrong answer yet. You just didn't
I didn't
answer the
know the
last
two
two passing
quarterback
questions.
ones.
You haven't given a wrong answer. This one might get you. Receiving touchdowns.
Okay, so the leader, I believe it's Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is first, tied with somebody.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I know Jefferson's up there.
Jefferson is also up there. Yeah.
And then I know it's a weird one, but Marvin Harrison's there.
Marvin Harrison is also
I
there. Yeah.
think I think he's tied with Jefferson, isn't he?
Yeah. They both have four. Mike Evans
Okay,
has
and
five.
then I also think Jamar's got four.
Jamar has five. He's tied with
Jamar's
Mike
got
Evans.
five. So am
Yeah.
I missing one?
You're missing one. This one's obscure.
Obscure.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
There is a quarterback receiver connection though. So it does kind of make sense.
Oh, I almost said Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, and I realized they weren't on the same team.
Yeah.
Um,
This one would be tough to get. I don't think you'll get there.
yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it.
Alan Lazard.
Really?
Yeah, he's got four. He's got
So
four.
there's the top five guys. There's two that are tied at first, and then the next three are four.
Yeah, there's probably and then everyone else at three, so it is actually the top
I was gonna
five.
say Drake London's got three, so he's got to be
Drake
close.
London's got three, yep. Rushing yards.
I think Derrick Henry's game last week put him up there.
Derrick Henry is first.
Saquon's up there.
Saquon is third. Boy,
Oh,
does his
oh,
stuff.
I know this one because he's on my fantasy team. Jordan
Yeah,
Mason's up there.
he's number two.
Um,
Number two.
I don't know if I'm gonna get the other two.
The other two
Um,
are kind of
I
kind of
oh,
strange.
is Kamara up there?
No, one's in your division.
It's not Chuba, is it?
Chuba's number five.
Wow, good for
Yeah.
him.
And the last one had their starting quarterback go down, so he ran a lot.
Is their quarterback still down?
No,
Oh, is it Josh Jacobs?
it is Josh Jacobs, number four.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. I thought he was having a rough year again.
No, he's actually been really good. Just
Hmm,
hasn't been able to get in the end zone.
interesting.
Um, Rushing touchdowns.
Okay, Kamara's got to be up there.
Kamara's tied for third. Yep.
Um, Derrick Henry's up there, right?
Derrick Henry's first. Tied for first.
Tied for first with um. Oh, I know that it's no. I want to say Lamar, but I don't know if he's up there. Up there.
Don't get it wrong.
I know Monty's got a lot. Is Montgomery
Monty's
up there?
tied for fifth. There's a bunch of people tied for fifth, so I'll give you
Oh,
that.
James Cook's got to be close because he had that three touchdown
James
game.
Cook's tied for fifth
Oh my
with
God, how
four.
many people are tied for fifth?
A lot.
Oh, Kyron's probably up there, right?
Kyron's tied for first. He's got six.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So the only other person like that's not tied for fifth that you haven't got, there's one guy with five, and there's a guy he's tied with someone who's on the same team as him. Two people on the same team with that are both in the top five.
he wait, these two guys on the same team are tied?
No, he's got five. His teammates got four. Both in the top five though.
Geez, okay.
One's a
Um,
QB.
is it Saquon and Jalen Hurts?
Saquon has five. Jalen Hurts doesn't make the list.
Okay.
Another team.
Oh, it's in that division though, isn't it?
It might be in that division. Yeah.
Jaden Daniels has got to be close, right?
Jaden Daniels.
And
Yep.
then Brian Robinson would be the other
Brian
one.
Robinson has five. Yeah, he's
I didn't
tied for
realize.
third.
Okay, fun fact about Brian Robinson. In my other fantasy league, I traded Shakir and Singletary for him, and I was getting called for an overpay.
It seemed to work out for you.
It's worked out.
Washington has three players in the top 10.
Who else is there?
Jeremy McNichols has three.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
apparently. Um, the other one, I'll give you two more. These two are going to be difficult. It's really going to test your knowledge. Interceptions.
Okay, so I do know the leader. It's the guy. It's your boy Xavier.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah,
Great
he's
addition.
been. I think I mentioned in the offseason I liked the
Yeah,
addition of him.
yeah. 5 games,
Um,
5 interceptions.
I'm not gonna get the other four. I just knew that he was the leader.
Yeah, you got Kirby Joseph of the Detroit Lions,
Who?
Brandon Eccles of the Jets,
Yeah, really, who? Who's that?
Marlon Humphrey of Baltimore,
I'll
and
dispute saying
Camus Grugier Hill of the Minnesota Vikings.
that.
The last one I'll give you, which might be a little bit easier, but again, not really, is sacks.
Okay, I know the leader's Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah,
I
six and
know
a half.
I know this is gonna be a really weird pull, but I know that Kyle Van Noy's up there.
He's second with six. He's half a sack back. These are
Oh,
gettable. Well, one of them's gettable. I don't know your
that
defensive
oh
knowledge.
the guy he's on the Jets.
Yep, yep.
Oh, what's his
I'm
name?
almost down to give you that just because you know what
What's
team
his
it is.
name?
Will McDonald.
Okay, yeah, that's his name. Um, um,
That's not the get that I thought.
Dexter Lawrence is close, right?
Dexter Lawrence, yeah, he's got six as well.
I know Max Crosby's got like 4 or 5.
He's got five. He's tied for fifth, so I'll give
And
you that.
then
Yeah.
and then and then
He's tied for fifth with three other people.
there's also a guy on the Jags. He was a former first overall pick.
Holy cow, you know your stuff. Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon Wall, I forgot his name. He's from Georgia. He went to school in Georgia. I knew that.
The other two people are Derek Hall of the Seattle
Yeah, I
Seahawks
don't know. I've never heard of him.
and Pat Jones of the Minnesota Vikings.
I also don't know who that is
You
either.
know your stuff though.
Yeah, like I guess I've been keeping up on stats. It also helps that the NFL always posts those updates.
True. Yeah, that helps.
Right, they always post the top like 5 guys. I know the guy leading tackles. He's is it EJ Speed or whatever?
Let me pull it up. I got off it, but it is yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
Indy.
he's tied.
Oh. Oh geez, I don't know who he's tied with.
Robert Spillane
No,
of the Raiders.
Raiders.
Right behind him is Buda Baker. Good job.
Really? Oh, good on Buddha.
Who's leading the NHL in goals through one game?
Rantanen?
Yeah, yeah, Hattie.
Yeah.
You all tied for second behind him are Olafson, Stone, Barbashev, all on the same team.
Yeah, because they
all
all
had
had
two.
2.
That's
Did you
great.
see
What was the
Stone's
score
goal
of
last
that
night?
game?
You see Stone's first goal?
No,
Eichel
eight
just
four.
ripped.
Holy cow!
Huh?
The score was 8-4.
Yeah. So Stone's first goal.
Georgiev's save percentage was 688.
Yeah, he sucks. Um,
And
Stone's first goal. Stone's
okay.
first goal. Eichel steps in right on the top of the left circle, rips a clapper. It goes off Stone's ass and in.
Yeah, Eichel has 4 assists. He's
Yeah.
leading the NHL. Who is leading the NHL in shots against?
Through one game?
Yeah.
Well, two teams have played 2 games.
Yeah, but they've only played one goal each time because it was
Okay.
back to back.
Interesting.
It was a back to back.
Penguins gave up 40. Probably the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, Montreal Samuel Montembeault 48 shots, but Tristan Jarry 41.
Yeah, 6 goals.
We already have three shutouts, which is crazy.
Shesterkin, Montembeault, and don't tell me.
A
Um,
high-powered offense got shut out.
Not the Penguins. I'm just kidding.
Not
Um,
hard. Very high-powered.
I don't
You
know.
watched a lot of their games. You hate the connection between Crosby and this player.
Ovi? Did the Capitals play last night?
No, they considered a
Oh,
high-powered.
the Oilers got shut out by the Jets 6-0 too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
You're right.
did. You're right. It's
You're
just
right.
Stuart Skinner looked like worse than
Starts
Jari.
the Jets totaled. Yeah, the Jets had 20 shots and scored 6 goals.
Stuart Skinner didn't play the goal.
Skinner
Skinner got
faced
pulled.
Skinner faced 13 shots and allowed 5 goals.
Trash.
That's not great.
Anyways, we have 3 minutes left. Let's quickly did you watch that Utah game?
I did. I
I
did.
did too.
It was
That
electric.
was a
Yeah.
really cool environment to watch.
It was a fun game, and I mean they took the big dub. They played great. Ingram looked good. Like I mean, Chicago's first goal was pretty nasty. Nice pass from Bedard. And then just roofed it top shelf. But other than that, I feel like they played really well. Um, I think that what's that line? It's
Gunther,
Gunther,
McBain,
Cooley.
Cooley.
That line looks really good. That
Yeah,
was their best
they
line
look
for
good. They
sure.
look very good.
Um, and I mean Keller's line looked good too. Their power play looked really good, which we know this. Their offense was always good. It was kind of their defense that was the question. But I mean, if Ingram can play like that and they can constantly score goals, they could be a wild card team for sure. They look really good.
No, yeah,
And the fans loved it.
I was gonna mention that how I think that Utah could be a sneaky playoff team this year.
100%.
Their main I know Ingram played well last year, but their main question mark will be that they're very deep forward wise, and I think their defense is good with the Sergachev ad, but it'll be all up to if Connor Ingram can show that he's a starting goalie or not.
It must just be nice playing in front of an arena with more than 4,000 people in
Oh,
it. What did you think
and
of
an
the
arena
arena?
where it's actually like electric in there, and
I
yeah.
find right behind the net how they have that big black wall kind of weird.
I found so if you look at it, those seats are called one net seating view because if you sit three rows up, you can't see the net right in front of you.
So that's why they took it out. They just put the wall there instead.
No, the because of the way the wall is, because of the way how whenever it was built, it was obviously not built whenever it was built thinking it was gonna be a hockey arena. It was
Hmm.
built being an NBA arena for the Jazz. The way that it's built, if you sit like three rows back because of that wall, you can't see the net that's like purposely that's like right in front of you.
Oh, so people are complaining.
Well, no, I think that the tickets are just stupid cheap for those
I
seats.
have heard there's a couple spots around that arena that are hard to view,
Yeah, I think it's all honestly based off the fact that it just wasn't made to be an NHL rink.
but the fans were great.
Fans are great, but yeah, less than a minute left, so I guess we'll wrap it up.
Pretty good.
If you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe. We were back on the daily or weekly, and we will probably be on the daily
Daily.
next week too. Weekly, daily, same
Daily.
thing.
Could you imagine us being daily?
No,
God.
never. Anyways.